Welcome. Today we will be looking at volume of prisms, specifically volume of triangular prisms. Up to this point, we spent a little bit of time looking at prisms, but mainly just rectangular prisms. We will review that. I do want you to take the notes over that review, but we're going to move on a little bit to something today with triangular prisms, which is not much more difficult, but has its own unique formula, and we need to learn that and be able to use it. So I have the box type that you need to look for to write anything down today. I did not put the box around the review, but I do want you to write down the review of the rectangular prism. So here we go. So like I said, we're going to do one review of a rectangular prism, which is pretty simple. You've already written down the formula for volume of a rectangular prism. So you don't necessarily need to write that down again, but I do want you to write down the example, and I know I don't have a red box around it, but it would be good for you to have one more example in your notes. So when we're working with volume of a rectangular prism, really what we have is the area of the base, which is length times width, times the height of the prism. So we're just going to go and follow our formula, length times width times height. Our length being, we'll call it 4.5, the width being 3.2, and then the height of the prism here is 4.2. So we're going to multiply all of those. If we absolutely need a calculator, that is fine for this unit. So we multiply 4.5 times 3.2 times 4.2, and we would get 60.48 centimeters cubed. Okay, so remember, volume is the space inside of this prism here. So it's how much can be filled up. If you think about it like, how much water could I fill that prism with? Well, it would be 60.48 centimeters cubed. It could fill it with that much water. Okay. All right. Moving on, we're going to get to the meat of our lesson today, which is triangular prisms. So this is important. You need to write everything here down. Okay. Actually, the volume of a triangular prism is a lot like any other volume we've looked at so far. When we looked at cylinders, it was volume equals big B times H, which stood for, with a cylinder, pi r squared times H, because this is the area of the base of a cylinder. So this is no different. We have volume equals the area of the base times the height of the prism. Well, what is the area, the area formula for a triangle? So the area formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. And here's where this one gets a little tricky, because we have two heights technically. So you have to be careful to understand what this means. Okay, that's why we write it like this to start. The height of the triangle is here. The height of the prism is here. Big difference. Okay, so if you need to write that, this is the height of the triangle. This is the height of the prism. That might be smart. But you need to be able to tell the difference between those two. So we're going to do some examples together, and then you'll try one on your own, and we'll move on from there. Here we go. All right, so here we have our three examples that we're going to be working on. I'm going to do the first two with you a little bit, and then you'll try the second one. Okay, so the first one, volume of a triangular prism is the area of the base times the height. So we know the area of the base of a triangle. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what is the area of this triangle? Okay, we see that the base is 4 of the triangle, the height seems to be 6. So we're going to use 1/2 base times height, and we're going to multiply that by the height of the prism. So I'm going to fill in what I know. The base of the triangle is obviously 4. The height of the triangle, look carefully here, is 6, okay? And then we're going to multiply that by the height of the prism. If we stood it up on its base, how tall is it? Well, it's 8. Okay, so now I just have to multiply. Half of 4 is 2. And then I can work from there. I can either do 6 times 8 or 2 times 6 and work. So 2 times 6 is 12 times 8, which would give me, I carry my 96. I believe that's correct. And then we would label it centimeters cubed. Okay. Hopefully you took a moment to write that down with me. Let's go ahead and start this one. Volume equals the area of the base times the height. So we're looking for 1/2 base times height times the height. Realize the difference, okay? We have 2 heights, but one's the height of the triangle, one's the height of the prism. Pause right here. Try to finish it out. I will, when you're done, you can push play and then you can see if you did it correctly. So we're going to plug in what we know. The base would be 10 of the triangle. The height would also be 10 of the triangle. And if I stood it up on its base, it would be 25 centimeters tall. So that's the height of the prism. So half of 10 is 5. Okay. And then we would be multiplying, well, you want to try to make it as easy as possible, but when we're working with tens, this would be 250. And 250 times 5 is 1,250 centimeters cubed. Awesome. Okay, so now I want you to try this last one on your own. Okay, when you are done, you can have it checked out by me and get your notes checked and then get your worksheet and get going. Have a great day.